I thought I'd get that out of the way right at the very start. Can it do the Hoover? Yes, it can. It's indistinguishable really, isn't it? There's minor things that I could probably do to tweak things, but angeringly good, isn't it? And I suppose that's what the Juno 2 is most famous for. If you're seeing this channel a lot, you might remember or you might know that the Juno 2 is my first ever proper synth. Terrible synth to buy as a first synth because, as you can see, there's just no way of programming it without clicking into parameter select. Then you spin this wheel till you find the right parameter. It doesn't click, so you've got to go really carefully. Then you hit value and then you change it. So if you want a synth to learn how to program, this isn't the one to do it because it's actually quite a complex synth. So I've got on the top here, if you're wondering what this is the MPG50 from Retroactive Synths, and that's a controller for it. It controls it, it does all sorts of extra bits and bobs. I've got a video on that if you want to see that. But Tag Audio Line, is that what they're called, Tag Audio Line, have bought out the Tal-Pha, which is the Alpha Juno, and it's absolutely great. I bought it myself. They've not paid me to do this or anything, but because I'm such a fan of the Alphas, I wanted to pick it up and see what it could do. There is another one on the market. It's been on there for a while called the Redominator, and that I found wasn't identical to the Juno 2. It was close. It did the same sort of things, but it didn't actually sound like my synth, whereas this one did. So I thought I'd do a quick video demoing how it works, what it is, why it's cool, and how close it sounds to this little baby. Okay, looking at the software, I'll just run through quickly what we've got. We've got a single LFO, and that's got a delay on it. We've got a DCO. This is an analog synth, but it's digitally controlled oscillators, which is why they stay in tune so well, same as all the other Junos. We've got a low-pass resonant filter, and we've also got a high-pass filter there as well. Plus, we've got this really interesting envelope, which has got how many stages? And the envelope's really interesting. It's like the soul of the Alpha Junos. You've got time 1 and level 1, so like your attack time. Then you've got time 2 and level 2, so you've got a time going down to your sustain level, like you would on an ADSR envelope. But then you've got time 3 and level 3, so you've got another level there, which can be up or down, I suppose. So you can go up, down, up, and then you've got the release as well. And that's why we've got so many controllers for the envelope. On the VCA, we've got gate or envelope. Then we've got some control functions for pitch bend and modulation. And finally, on the right, we've got the master controls, including the chorus. Unlike the other Junos, the chorus on this has got a rate control. So on Juno 60, 6 and 106, you've got 1, 2, or sometimes 3, if you can get the 2 buttons pushed in together. On this, you've got total control over the rate. Again, this is why you can do those Hoover sounds, because you can have that rate cranked up and you get some really nice chorusy effects. That's a really quick run through. A single oscillator synth with a single envelope and a single LFO, but it can do so much in there because of what we've got on these oscillators. The oscillators take it way beyond what the other Junos could do because we haven't just got a sawtooth and a square, we've got all sorts of nice goodies in here. If we take a look at the sawtooth and the pulse here, we've got lots of different weird shapes. So with normal sawtooth, one with sort of 2 peaks or 2 bits missing. PWM on a sawtooth. Lots of little peaks and a selection of peaks. And these were really unique waveforms at the time because let's not forget it's a single oscillator synth, so you can't do FM, you can't do those real bell-like tones by modulating one oscillator with another, but you can get them direct from these waveforms and they're exactly the same on the original. So close, aren't they? Absolutely no difference between them as far as I can tell. Then we move over to the pulses, so let's turn the sawtooth off. The software's got an additional sawtooth on that one that the original doesn't have, but let's take a listen. Same again. Then we've got the sub, and on the original that's just got 3 discrete volume levels, whereas on this we can increase gradually. What's really cool is that when there's no oscillators playing, there's a little hiss, just like on a bit of hardware. I like that. Anyway, we've got 5 different wave shapes from 1 octave below to 2 octaves below. Let's try it over here. We've got the 3 discrete volume levels. So it's not continuous. And they're identical again, aren't they? Staggeringly good emulation, this. Let's try these middle ones again, just to double check. Great, isn't it? That's the weird Alpha Juno oscillators. And then we have these little controls to the right of it, which are repeated on the filter and on the amplifier. And these are basically the envelope inverted, the envelope with velocity, or the envelope with aftertouch. Let's have a little play with this envelope then. So we'll add some attack. We'll just wiggle this round a little bit. So we're going to go up and then add envelope to the pitch. So this should go up to L1, down to L2, then back up to L3. The Alpha Juno 2 had aftertouch on the keyboard, but this one has never worked since the day I bought it, and I don't think any of them do. But it was there, so you can control it with aftertouch. So if you've got aftertouch on your keyboard, you can use it on the software. And if you've got MPE on your keyboard, you can switch that in on the software as well. We do have an MPE mode up there, which is pretty cool. And then we move over to the filter, and just like all the other Junos, we've got a simple high pass and a resonant low pass. And the simple high pass, if we bring it to 0, adds some depth. So it's flat when it's on 1, and it's got a bit of a bass boost when it's on 0, and you can actually see the waveform change really clearly. So we'll put it back to 0. And this is identical to the hardware. Bringing it down to 0 adds the bass. So we'll leave it on 1 and then everything is super close. I'm almost at the point of stopping doing it because it's so similar. Let's try this resonance then. It's got a beautiful sound to that, hasn't it? So that's full resonance, no self-oscillation. Beautiful. There's a tone on this called Sin Rise, and it's basically just that, a really nice build with high resonance, and that just sounds exactly the same. And I've known that tone for 30 years. Okay, moving on, we've got envelope control as well. Here we've got envelope with the velocity or just the velocity. So let's put it on there. So the filter's ignoring the envelope, it's just changing with velocity. Just nice little ways between the VCA and the VCF being like gated or with the envelope. Just gives you more options than just having the envelope on its own. And just add in a little bit of resonance gives us some nice cool effects. It's just taking me back, this. Back to the default patch then. Let's put that on a bit of PWM on the sawtooth. And then add some on the pulse as well. Already sounded like a Hoover. Then let's add some envelope to the pitch. And then let's do a little bit of a wiggle with it. Nearly there. Let's add some modulation to the filter as well. So drop that down. Add in the envelope. And then let's add some chorus. Drop that filter down a little bit more. And that's basically it. Doing the same on the hardware. So let's add some PWM. Add the pulse. PWM. Drop the cutoff. Add some envelope. Change the envelope. Do a bit of this. Add envelope to the pitch. And maybe add some chorus. And then just tweak to suit. That's it. It's a really, really nice bit of software. Let's just have a listen to some of the presets, shall we, that we can go through really easily on both of them. So as far as the sounds go, I'm a happy man. Presets are nearly there, but that doesn't really bother me. I never really use them anyway. I use my own presets, and I wonder if I can get my own presets from the Juno 2 into the software. Yeah, that was really simple. Just went to import Sysex to presets and just loaded the bank. And here we go, Starsky's Juno 2 bank. The presets do work then. They have imported, but they're not identical. There's obviously just slight little things that could maybe tweak on each of the parameters, especially this one. Maybe just reduce the amount of filter envelope and stuff like that. But I'm really impressed that it's dealing with them. Another really cool part of the Alpha Junos was the chord memory. It's like instant Chicago house. We just go to the very first preset, for example, add a chord. That's a bit happy hardcore, that one, isn't it? I've no idea what that chord is. So chord memory and write, let's write a chord. There we go. So. Start on the software then, record, play some notes. Velocity is different on these two keyboards as well, which is why everything isn't sounding as close as it could. So you can actually play more than one chord at a time. When you've got chord mode on the Alpha, it basically turns it into one note at a time. And that's how you do monophonic stuff. You write a chord of one note. This isn't doing the same thing, but maybe there's a setting in there I've not found yet. But if I reduce the number of voices, that was a 5-note chord, wasn't it? Yeah, I can't figure that out. Anyway, before we finish, let's just take a look at some of the other functions you've got in the software. Got the master octave. We can change the number of voices, but I didn't see that working with those chords. But we've got round robin mode as well. So I'll play one voice after the other. If we go to this VT here, we can change the voices slightly so we can give them a bit more of an analog feel. So you can change the cut off, the detune, the attack, decay and release, and the pan. So let's maybe just knock these round a bit on the panning, shall we? See what happens. Definitely works, doesn't it? Let's try a bit of cut-off action on them as well. Yeah, play a chord. That's a nice little touch, isn't it? Randomize that. This is the amount of randomization, and put that on 0. Do we get everything back to 0? Everything except for the pan. Double click to get it back to 0. I'm really loving this. It's a lovely bit of software. Let's try some reverb. Let's add some. Nice and big. Simple, but it's doing the job, isn't it? And delay. Let's take the reverb off. Feedback. sync it to the door. Again, a simple but effective tool. If you really want to do some crazy delays, you've probably got other things to do that with. Simple EQ and an arpeggiator. Let's put it on. Let's take unison off. Well, if I could play in time, that'd be all right, wouldn't it? Well, it's nice to have an arpeggiator on board. The last thing I want to do is see if I can control it with the retroactive MPG50, because that would be really cool indeed, wouldn't it? Okay, we go into MIDI learn, and then we wiggle a fader, and then wiggle it on the hardware, wiggle a fader, wiggle it on the hardware. It's just this simple to do. LFO rate, where's that? It's down here. Delay. Come out of MIDI learn. Well, there we go. It's all working, as you might expect. I should really give a quick shout out to retroactive controllers because they are amazingly flexible. This one's working with the Sysex for the Juno 2, but also the CCs for the software, and it'll work with them both at the same time. So if you have got an old synth that needs Sysex, do check out their website because there's loads of these different controllers for different synths. Yeah, so grateful. That's the Tal-Pha from Tal audio line. Now I've got that working with the MPG50. Do you know what? I think it's doubtful I'll ever get the hardware out again because I really can't tell the difference. And as I've got the MPG50 working flawlessly with it, I can't see the point in having the hardware. I'm not going to get rid of the hardware. It's my first ever synth, but still, yeah, wow. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please think about subscribing, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon. The channel's funded by YouTube ads and my wonderful patrons, and the link is in the description. And for less than the price of a triple venti half-sweet non-fat caramel macchiato, you get access to samples, patches, tutorials, and extra bits and bobs. So ditch the coffee and treat yourself to some sonic refreshment. And also take a look at my Starsky Car website where I've got stuff to buy, plus free samples and patches, stuff like that. And I will upload the patches that I use for my Juno 2. There's two banks in there. You've got the presets and then you've got the memory. I only ever use the memory patches. They're the ones I created. So I'll upload them, I think, to the Starsky Car website. I'll chuck them up there for maybe a $5 or something like that. So if you do get the Tal and you want to check out some different patches, not that it doesn't come with a load itself, but you know, for a couple of quid, it might be worth a look. Anyway, thanks very much for watching and thanks for staying to the very end, and I will see you next time.